Let's populate this junction with some signs and markings. So in front of us we've got the new signs dialog. Straight away you'll notice the old smaller signs have been replaced by these bigger static boards. I'll explain these settings below in more detail shortly. For now, let's select stop sign and then specify a signboard height above curve of 1.8 meters. Click on OK. Reading my prompt, it says indicate position of road sign and then indicate the direction. Once I've got it, I can right click and select quit. If I want to see what that looks like in the render view, I can click on the render view and press S. Next up, let's look at the road markings. When looking at road markings, they are classed into solid markings as well as linear markings. Solid markings would include the traverse markings, arrow markings, as well as customized markings. Let's first take a look at the solid, then the linear markings. Going to traverse markings, stop line. Specify that I want text associated with the stop sign. You can go and customize your dimensions and then click on the green tick. Specify your start and stop position. Civil Designer also gives you the tools to measure lane widths and marking offsets. As the stop text length is 5.5 meters, I've opted for a 6 meter gap. We first select a source point to find a gap from. Civil Designer then highlights the options available. Confirm option of choice and specify the second edge of carriageway. With the cursor, you can really customize the text position. Once inserted, right click. I will discuss these paint settings in more detail shortly. As an additional example, let's go and put in a pedestrian crossing. We go to traverse markings, pedestrian crossing, and I'm going to go and select a type of skew. You could customize your dimensions, click on the green tick, specify the start point of your pedestrian crossing and then your end point. As I move my cursor, you'll see that the pedestrian marking follows. Once you're happy with the crossing, left click again and then a right click and quit. Let's get an update from our render view. Staying with solid markings, let's go and insert an arrow marking. I do this by going to Signage, Add Road Markings, Arrows, Warning, Mandatory Direction, Left Ahead Arrow. As I did before, I'm going to use the Find Lanes functionality where Civil Designer calculates the middle of my carriageway for me. I insert my first edge, my second edge, there's the middle point, and as I move my cursor, you'll see that the arrow follows. Once inserted, right click and quit. Moving on to linear markings. Select regulatory markings, left edge marking. If you do go and select the standard mode, Civil Designer would automatically insert a parallel line, in this case to the left edge of my existing road. Alternatively, you'll be happy to know that if you press Ctrl Z on your keyboard, the undo function will remove the previous marking. Having done that, if you press spacebar on your keyboard, the previous function is returned. This time I'd prefer to specify a start and end point. Using the existing markings, we are able to customize the marking dimensions. Once again, I click just to the right hand side of the left road edge display line. Using the keyboard shortcuts or particular snap modes, specify a start position, move the cursor and the linear marking will follow the endpoint. Once done, right click and quit and get a render refresh. Last but not least, I'd like to insert some linear road furniture. Specify the furniture of choice, what mode you'd like to use, the post distance, click on the green tick, and in this case I'm then going to select a CAD entity. Right click and quit, and getting a render refresh.